Explanation. I open up my YouTube and decided to put on a video while I eat breakfast to study consciousness, to have a little more stimulated beginning to my readings. And there's an anxiety challenge from Fortnite. On the YouTube page from Google. And I nannied for a Google family. Babysat mostly. And they taught their kids what Google teaches their YouTube users: control, limits. Having Joe Rogan be the hormonal equivalent of His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Tibet and Tibetan Buddhism. Keeping people from being too enlightened and possibly in danger from their aloofness. Google has now made control the optimization for the future. Tons of brain, tons of eyes, tons of faces, tons of concentration, tons of focus, letting everybody know what they need to do, and then they put them over that edge and they have them look down far below to know their emotion. And then they ask them and tell them in so many words, make sure you don't feel that emotion. You'll feel stronger as a man, you'll be better as a woman. These words I'm speaking sound like engineering. The same kind of engineering with men and women meeting each other. Tinder, Facebook, Match.com. Anime. Avatars. In other words, the stimulus from the benefit of the interaction, the work it takes to have the interaction, and then the requirement to meet the expectations of the person being interacted with in the world, have been recalculated, rethought, and repositioned and redesigned as an extra stimulated, exciting, and fantastic and breathtaking decision the brain makes to go log on to that website, to really not have that emotion, mentally concentrating and focusing and stretching the limits of energy. And keeping the body nice and flexible and not bothersome for someone else. Emotional homogeneity. Neutralizing any sort of confusion and eliminating any sort of fear, panic, looking down over that ledge. And taking away the freedom of behavior, eliminating the freedom of brain. in choosing to identify, restrict, and eliminate spontaneity. Unusualness. A bodybuilder and an obese woman. A porn star. And a college professor. So smart, so brilliant, and so genius. They've got all the money, they've got all the power, they've got all of the loop tightly sealed. With a door for the government, an entrance for the housewife and their children, and plenty of paranoia and plenty of teaching for folks and people like me to be as powerful as Joe Rogan, to be as wise as the game developer, who can make a world so bizarre, so difficult, and so challenging the work feels and drains the energy from a user, similar to a treadmill machine, similar to a weight with a bar to lift at the gym. Millions of viewers for pages, tons of advertising support. And my explanation for brain, body, and mind. Almost similar to the last gasp for air, trying to not drown in water. They call it is what it is in Ohio, but here now in Seattle, they don't care. They're not worried about any other stupid fanatical idea or philosophy or psychological system or some neuropsychiatry or some neuroscience. The brain's as simple as 1, 2, 3, ABC for me. And unless I can get to that level of quantum mechanics and quantum computing and social progress, then I will forever be stuck in a room with a wolf and the word Jesus on my wall, drinking some stupid coffee I've got to make, unable to afford the next great adventure at the newest stimulus workshop called Cannabis and Mushrooms, the the next best choice. In other words, brain and behavior are to keep the body from bothering anybody. The body and mind are for stimulus, learning, and forcing the brain to sleep. Medicinally, physically, and require restraint from a researcher like me, from a medical school applicant like me, and maybe a different choice to make going forward. Deciding money, as Buddhists say, really does only cause problems. Trying to have a career and be a professional could end up being worse than the suffering with poverty and despair. Being eaten by the wolf rather than disrespected and thrown aside by some super intelligent, genius, brilliant software programming, book writing, technological superhero. Who smokes blondes, drinks vodka, and can type and make a world faster than I can walk down the street. To check out a book from the University of Washington. They've got AI to go through the resources. They've got algorithms to process the results from that AI's work in the supercomputer. And they've got plenty of businesses to support their goals and their purpose. For what the Google family's front yard said, all lives matter. And in their system, with their framework and their structure and their processes, all lives only matter when people like me are white, nationalist, racist, male, limited, and self-controlled people and folks. Always paying attention to behavior, gesture, language, truth, and facts. Omahum Vasha Guru Pamaseum. The end.